So look, I've decided to rank the 12 teams because I'm tired of the first CFP rankings come out on Tuesday. So I decided I wanted to start doing this because
Oh my
first
God,
of
they come out on Tuesday on election.
on Tuesday, the NFL trade deadline is Tuesday.
And the end of democracy is scheduled.
That's right. I'm going to lock myself in a room, Clark, and read trade rumor tweets. That's what I'm going to do. So I'll be much healthier than anything else. So yeah, I'm tired. I'm tired of people whining about the rankings. I'm really sick and tired of it. I've had it with all you people who act like, no, the way they do this, it's biased and it's, it's arcane and what are they doing and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, no, I'm sorry. Like, listen, the AP poll doesn't do it right. There's no question about it. I totally agree with that. I get what they're saying, but this idea that we have to like go crazy about the AP poll has nothing to do with the CFP rankings. Okay, does everyone see it? Sure, but what are we going to do here? So number one, I just want to say right off the bat, college football not a serious sport. Okay, it's not. It's not run by a serious organization that's trying to do everything the right way and cares about fairness. College football is a television show to make money. Okay? If you're not comfortable with that, go somewhere else. I don't know what to tell you. This is what it is. That being said, okay, they do an excellent job on the rankings. They've gotten them right every single year. Okay? I'm not saying there aren't flaws. I'm not saying there aren't problems. There obviously are. But the reason there are problems is because of the system, not because of the people who rank the teams. Okay? The system is flawed. Florida State last year got screwed by the system, not the conspiracy or Kirk Herbstreit or ESPN. Okay? They do the best they can with the rankings, but I'm sorry that they're not perfect. And Danny Kanell today puts out a tweet video of him going, "Oh, I see what they're doing. I see what they're doing. They're doing the rankings like power rankings, and they're trying to keep teams out of the playoff. That's what they're trying to do. Indiana's undefeated. I know they haven't played anybody, but if they were a big brand, they'd be in the top 5. Okay. Meanwhile, Danny Kanell's rankings, Miami is number 2. I just went over how their schedule is an absolute joke. Okay? Yeah, they're undefeated. So what? They won all 9 of their games. I don't give a shit. Okay? Who did you play? Did you beat anyone? Like, it's hard to win all 9 of your games. If you're fucking playing teams that are far inferior to you, it isn't. So, yeah. So I tried to do
this analysis turn into the Alex Jones show. You notice that? It's just like, oh, I see what they're doing. You know what they're doing? It's a psyop. That's how they get you.
That's what he's doing, and it's like he was doing it last year. And by the way, but to be honest, I think Danny's just pulling our chains. I don't think he's serious about any of this. I don't think this is like Skip Bayless where he actually believes his nonsense. I just think he loves ruffling feathers and stuff, which is fine. This is great for college football. I have no problem with it, but don't get up here and try to act like. And then he's like, "No, the ranking should be resume based." Oh, really? Then why do you have Miami number 2? Explain that to me. Okay? Indiana's not getting enough respect. Indiana hasn't played anybody. Now, they're going to play Ohio State in like 2 weeks. So we'll see. But, I can't, so I'm not allowed to reserve judgment. And the other thing is, he's like, they're going to bring in past, things to determine the rankings. It's like, this is my general feeling on how we rank teams, Clark. This is how we should do it. You gather all the information. Okay? Wins and losses, strength of schedule. Who's your coach? What conference do you play in? What's your recruiting rankings? Yes, what's your recruiting rankings? How many guys do you get drafted by the NFL? Right? Everything counts. Okay? Everything matters. I get to decide how much certain things matter, but everything matters. And then you go in and you go, you know what? After all digesting all that information, who do I think the best 4 teams are? And is it subjective? You're goddamn right it's subjective. It's what it's supposed to be. Okay? So, I don't know what to tell you. We're going to get 12 in, and it's going to be like the basketball tournament, Clark. Oh, man, Iowa State didn't get in. Okay, cry me a fucking river. Like, nobody that's going to barely miss out on the playoff is going to win the national championship. Okay? Is Alabama, if they win out, probably going to get in? Yeah, they probably are. Like, you're just going to have to deal with it. I'm sorry, Indiana's brand isn't what Alabama's is, but I'm sorry, you're telling me as a voter I'm not allowed to take that into account? That Alabama has played well in big games for 20 years and Indiana just got a coach? Like, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. That stuff counts. Now, how much it counts, we can debate. But, anyway, all right. So here we go. I try to rank teams, and I am a resume. I mean, I lean more toward resume, but I am more of the way I would describe it is, who did you play, who did you beat? That's kind of how I roll. Okay, I don't care if you're undefeated. I really don't. I'm not interested. I take that into account, but you being undefeated is not going to sway me into, oh, I need to rank you high because you're undefeated. It's more complicated than that. All right. And basically, Clark, like the top 3 teams I think we can pretty much agree on. After that, good luck. And you think you don't like my rankings, you try doing it. I mean, it's a goddamn nightmare, especially this year. All right. So my top 12. So I've still got Oregon number 1. They have a really good win against Ohio State. Yes, it was at home, and yes, it was by 1 point, but they have a really good win. They blew out Illinois, blew out Michigan. Like, they're dispatching. They struggled a little bit at the beginning of the season, but they're dispatching teams like they're supposed to. And they also have the extra win against Boise State, just for a little icing on top of the cake. And Boise State is 14th in the AP poll right now. So that's 2 pretty good wins. Two wins in the top 14. That's pretty legit, and they're undefeated. I moved Georgia down from number 2 from last week, but because of their performance against Florida. They were in a tie game with 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter against Florida and their 3rd string quarterback. And they were not good. And if Florida's backup had stayed in and not got injured, they were losing the game when he was playing. So they might have been in some serious trouble. So I put Ohio State number 2. Now, I said, I haven't been really thrilled with the win against Penn State and the win last week against Nebraska. But you know what? They almost beat Oregon on the road. That's pretty darn good. And, Penn State's a good team. Not a great team. They're a good team. And Ohio State really kind of dominated them and really should have won the game by a lot more. So I put Ohio State too. Georgia, as we talked about, like, for right now, they've got 1 loss, and when they play well, it's really freaking good. Now, maybe we'll never see it again, but we saw it a couple of times, and man, it's awesome. So yeah, I'm sticking them at 3rd. I mean, after that, you can pretty much argue with every pick I've ever made here. I sweated over who to put 4th because I don't know what to do with Texas. I don't know what to do with Texas because they beat Oklahoma and Michigan. They're not. We already see they're not very good teams, and they got absolutely destroyed against Georgia in a game at home.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do. So I put Tennessee 4th because I think Tennessee's win against Alabama is really good. I know they lost to Arkansas, but I think that Alabama win is still really good. I know Alabama's not what they were. I get it. It's still a really good program. And they beat them, and their defense kicked their ass. And so this is, 2 things. Tennessee's win against Alabama and their defense. Tennessee's defense is really awesome. I don't know what the hell's going on with their offense. It may never come around, but so I put Tennessee 4th. And then I put Texas 5th. I know Texas, I'm like, resume. Well, Texas doesn't really have the resume right now. They just don't. But they've beaten some decent teams, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out how good they are. But yeah, I am going a little bit here on faith and talent. Sue me. I have Indiana 6th because, yes, they have not really played anybody, but the people they are playing, they're destroying. Okay? Miami is letting teams hang around with them. Indiana is not. Indiana played Nebraska a couple of weeks ago, 56 points. Even with their backup quarterback in there for half the game. Absolutely wiped the floor with them. And then they go to Michigan State. They get down 10-0, 47 unanswered points. So I'm going by what I see here. Indiana's resume, not great, but what they are doing with it is more impressive than what Miami or BYU the other undefeated teams are doing. 7th, I put BYU. I had BYU one spot up last week because I thought that yes, they're undefeated in the Big 12, so it's not a great schedule, but they did beat SMU. SMU only has one loss, and they beat the crap out of Kansas State. Kansas State been a pretty good team, and they beat them 38-9, just smoked them. But I moved BYU down because Kansas State just lost to Houston, who's 3-5. So that Kansas State win, not what it used to be. So, but BYU's, I still think BYU's pretty good. All right, 1 2 6 7. So BYU is 7th. All right, 8th, I put Penn State. Penn State doesn't have like a crazy impressive win. They beat Illinois. They beat USC, which they were down by 14. It's kind of impressive to come back, but USC's 4-5 now. So, Penn State doesn't have a great resume, and they were in the game against Ohio State. They could have beat them, but I put Penn State there. This is basically, the second to last one-loss team. So Penn State 8th. I put Notre Dame 9th. Notre Dame is hard because they have a good win. They beat Texas A&M on the road, but they also have the worst loss. They lost to Northern Illinois, which is why I can't put them up any higher than this. So I had Notre Dame at 9. I felt like that loss pulled them down to here. And right beneath them at 10, I have Miami. Look, Miami, they keep winning. Like, I give them credit for it, but their schedule has been a joke, and they have not dominated the other teams like Indiana has. They were down by 25 points to Cal. They almost lost on a Hail Mary to Virginia Tech. Like, it's highly questionable what Miami's been doing. So I put Miami at 10. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, okay. 11, I put Texas A&M. Do I think Texas A&M probably beat Miami in a game? Yes, I do. But they have 2 losses. They're pretty good losses though. They lost, but both one game was at home to Notre Dame, and the other game they lost to South Carolina yesterday. But they didn't score in the second half. They're using their second quarterback trying to figure that out. So I just think Texas A&M, Texas A&M plays well. Yeah, they look really good, but they're pretty inconsistent, and so that's why I put them 11, and I put Bama 12. Because, they're not dead yet. Yes, I know they have 2 losses. Yes, I know they're struggling. But, of the teams left, I put them ahead of LSU because I just, I've watched LSU. LSU's been pretty inconsistent too, and they're going to play each other this weekend. So we're going to find out who's grabbing that spot. But so I put Bama 12, and then I had LSU 13. All right, Clark. So what do you think? I've got Miami pretty low compared to everybody else.
I haven't watched enough of the games to really comment. Did you have a Big 12 team in there?
Oh yeah, BYU.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, BYU's undefeated. Iowa State just lost. We lost this weekend. Penn State, Iowa State, and Pittsburgh lost. Those teams were all undefeated. So, So I think, I'm keeping BYU pretty high because they have that win against Kansas State. It's not aging well. They may be moving down in subsequent weeks. But right now they're undefeated and they have 2 pretty decent wins. This is really difficult. I changed around teams like 4 or 5 times today. Reviewing the games, listening to what other people are saying, blah, 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 and just trying to get it straight in my head how I feel about it. And I wish, honestly, I wish like Penn State, we could just get them out of there. Just get Penn State out of the rankings. Can we get, some of these teams just like, really, I got to put them in, and now everybody's like, Penn State doesn't really have any tough games the rest of the season. So Penn State's like going to get in, and everybody's like, well, they haven't beaten anyone. So this is going to be a real interesting conversation. And before we finish, I just wanted to say, I think one of the most interesting things about what they're going to do with the playoff is, Clark, what happens to the teams that make it to the conference championship games and lose? You know,
Um,
are they going to get passed by one of the teams behind them because they lost the game? Depending on how they look, is it better? Like I've argued forever, I think it would be better. This is what I think, and that everyone's gonna. People would hate this. No team would ever do this, but Oregon, right? Why not just be undefeated in the regular season, lose the conference championship game, right? You get the 5th seed. Yes, you have to play an extra game, but you get a game at home, right?
Yeah.
If you're the 5 seed, you get like the 12 seed, right? It's probably Boise State or whoever, somebody you can beat. You get them at home, you beat them, then you get a quarterfinal game against the number, because they're not reseeding. So that's the number 4 seed. So it's either the Big 12 or the ACC champion, right? Another team you're significantly better than, and you're in the semifinals. Just something to,
that's interesting.
just something to think about. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But as usual with college football, Clark, everybody will be yelling at everybody. It's just like politics. Everybody be yelling at everybody about everything. Oh, how can you do that? How can you rank them there? That's not fair. This team beat that team. What's the matter with you? Blah 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 blah. And so I'm glad Texas A&M lost, so I don't have to go through the whole Texas A&M Notre Dame. They both have one loss, but Notre Dame beat them scenario, because I don't hold true to, well, I mean, head to head. I mean, you have to put them ahead of them. It's like you don't have to do anything. And so, as evidenced by last year, the whole season, Danny Kanell's going, Florida State goes undefeated and wins their conference. They're absolutely 100% in the playoff. And I'm like, 100%? 100%? Really? So anyway, yeah, this is going to be, Clark, this is fun. Every week, it's like there's so many more teams. Like I've never given a rat's ass about the Big 12 conference race. But this year I do, because Colorado might make the playoff.
Right.
There's 7 teams that can still win the SEC. That's freaking awesome. So anyway, yeah, so we got Georgia Ole Miss this week at Ole Miss, and we got Alabama at LSU. It's going to be, and Indiana is playing Michigan. So we get to see Michigan get the shit beat out of them again. So yeah, this is going to be, this is an awesome season.